Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another reading of 1001 Nights. I hope you're all very well this evening. I am going to do one thing as usual, and I am going to invite a couple of groups on to listen to us again this evening, and then I will do the same later. But right now, very, very quickly, I'm going to invite some groups, and then later we will invite some more. Share to a group. I hope you are all very, very well this evening. So what do I write? What do I write to everybody? I don't know, it's difficult, isn't it? Oh no, that doesn't work. So there's one group. And then the next one, and then we will get straight on into the reading, everybody. There we go. Okay, so good evening, everybody. My name is... Hi, and I hope if I ever say anybody's name wrong, I do apologize. Hello, Lily. Hello, Awaf. I hope you are all... Is that right? Awaf. I hope you are all very, very well. It's a pleasure to read for you this evening. My name is Joanna Godwin-Seidl. I am your host for this evening's reading of 1001 Nights. I'm going to turn the music down, and then we will get straight on to the reading. Welcome, everybody. It's an absolute pleasure to read for you. That beautiful music was the music of Godwin-Seidl, and you can listen to him on YouTube. You just have to plug into Godwin-Seidl, but I will put another post again after this reading tonight at the bottom of this reading. So if you want to get a direct link to Godwin's beautiful music, then you can do so. That song was called You, and unfortunately, I can't begin to tell you the name of the previous song because I don't speak the language, sadly. But, however, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let us get on with a reading of 1001 Arabian Nights. And now, when it was the 145th night. Now, for those of you who have been listening in religiously, then we are on the story of the thief and the Shroff. So the thief and the Shroff. Scheherazade said, "It hath reached me, O auspicious king, that the thief took the money bag and made off with it to his companions, to whom he told what had passed. Said they, 'By Allah, thou hast played a clever trick. 'Tis not everyone could do it, but presently the money changer will come out of the privy, and missing the bag, he will beat the slave girl and torture her with grievous torture. 'Tis as though thou hast at present done nothing worthy of praise. So if thou indeed be sharper, return and save the girl from being beaten and questioned.' quoth he. Inshallah, I will save both girl and purse. Then the prig went back to the Shroff's house and found him punishing the girl because of the purse. So he knocked at the door and said to the man, "Who is there?" Cried the thief. "I am the servant of thy neighbour in the exchange." Whereupon he came out to him and said, "What is thy business?" And the thief replied, "My master saluteth thee and saith to thee, surely thou art deranged, and thoroughly so, to cast the like of this bag of money down at the door of thy shop and go away and leave it. Had a stranger hit upon it, he had made off with it, and except my master had seen it and taken care of it, it had assuredly been lost to thee." So saying, he pulled out the purse and showed it to the Shroff, who, on seeing it, said, "That is my very purse," and put his hand to take it. But the thief said, "By Allah, I will not give thee this same till thou write me a receipt declaring that thou hast received it. For, indeed, I fear my master will not believe that thou hast recovered the purse unless I bring him thy writing to that effect and sealed with thy signet seal." The money changer went in to write the paper required. And in the meantime, the thief made off with the bag of money, and thus was the slave girl saved her beating. And also, men tell a tale of the chief of the cuss police and the sharper. It is related that Ala al-Din, chief of police at Cuss, was sitting one night in his house when, behold, a personage of handsome appearance and dignified aspect came to the door, accompanied by a servant bearing a chest upon his head, and, standing there, said to one of the Wali's young men, "Go in and tell the Emir that I would have audience of him on some privy business." So the servant went in and told his master, who bade admit the visitor. When he entered, the Emir saw him to be a man of handsome semblance and portly presence. So he received him with honour and high distinction, seating him beside himself, and said to him, "What is thy wish?" Replied the stranger, "I am a highwayman, and am minded to repent at thy hands and turn to Almighty Allah. But I would have thee help me to do this, for that I am in thy district and under thine inspection. Now, I have here a chest wherein are matters worth some 40,000 dinars, and none hath so good a right to it as thou. So do thou take it and give me in exchange 1,000 dinars of thine own monies lawfully gotten, that I might have a little capital to aid me in my repentance and save me from resorting to sin for my subsistence. And with Allah Almighty be thy reward." Speaking thus, he opened the chest and showed the Wali that it was full of trinkets and jewels and bullion and ring gems and pearls, whereat he was amazed and rejoiced with great joy. So he cried out to his treasurer, saying, "Bring hither a certain purse containing 1,000 dinars." And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of day and ceased saying her permitted say. Now, when it was the 346th night, she said, "It has reached me, O auspicious king, that the wali cried out to his treasurer, saying, 'Bring hither a certain purse containing 1,000 dinars,' and gave it to the highwayman, who took it, and thanking him, went his way under cover of the night. Now, when it was morrow, the emir sent for the chief of goldsmiths and showed him the chest and what was therein. But the goldsmith found it nothing but tin and brass, and the jewels and bezel stones and pearls all of glass. Whereat the wali was sore chagrined and sent in quest of the highwaymen, but none could come at him. And men also tell the tale of Ibrahim bin al-Mahdi and the merchant's sister. The Caliph al-Mamun once said to his uncle Ibrahim bin al-Mahdi, "Tell us the most remarkable thing that thou hast ever seen." Answered he, "I hear and I obey, O Commander of the Faithful. Know that I rode out one day a-pleasuring, and my ride brought me to a place where I smelt the reek of food. So my soul longed for it, and I halted, O Prince of True Believers, perplexed and unable either to go on or to go in. Presently I raised my eyes, and lo, I espied a lattice window, and behind it a wrist, than which I never beheld aught lovelier. The sight turned my brain, and I forgot the smell of the food, and began to plan and plot how I should get access to the house. After a while, I observed a tailor hard by, and going up to him, saluted him. He returned my salam, and I asked him, "Whose house is that?" And he answered, "It belongeth to a merchant called such an one, son of such an one, who consorteth with none save merchants." As we were talking, behold, up came 2 men, of comely aspect, with intelligent countenances, riding on horseback. And the tailor told me that they were the merchant's most intimate friends, and acquainted me with their names. So I urged my beast towards them, and said to them, "Be I your ransom, Abu Fulan awaiteth you." And I rode with them both to the gate, where I entered, and they also. Now, when the master of the house saw me with them, he doubted not but I was their friend. So he welcomed me and seated me in the highest stead. Then they brought the table of the food, and now there remained the hand and the wrist. Then they brought the table and the food, And I said to myself, Allah hath granted me my desire of the food, and now there remaineth the hand of the food and the wrist. After a while, we removed for carousel to another room, which I found tricked out with all manner of rarities. And the host paid me particular attention, addressing his talk to me, for which he took me to be a guest of his guests, whilst in like manner these two made much of me, taking me for a friend of their friend, the housemaster. Thus I was the object of politest attentions, till we had drunk several cups of wine, and there came into us a damsel, as she was a willow wand, of the utmost beauty and elegance, who took a lute, and playing a lively measure, sang these couplets. Is it not strange one house is to contain, and still thou drawest not near, or talk we twain? Only our eyes tell secrets of our souls, and broken hearts by lovers' fiery pain. Winks with the eyelids, signs the eyebrow knows, languishing looks, and hand saluting fain. When I heard these words, my victuals were stirred, O commander of the faithful, and I was moved to delight for her excessive loveliness and the beauty of the verses she sang. And I envied her skill and said, there lacketh somewhat to thee, O damsel. Whereupon she threw the lute from her hand in anger and cried, since when are ye wont to bring ill-mannered louts into your assemblies? Then I repented what I had done, seeing the company vexed with me, and I said in my mind, oh, my hopes are all lost by me. And I weeted no way of escaping blame but to call for a lute, saying, I will show you what escaped her in the air she played. Quoth the folk, we hear and we obey. So they brought me a lute and tuned the strings, and I tuned the strings and sang these verses. This is thy friend, perplexed for pain and pine, the enamoured down those whose breast course drops at brine. He hath his hand to the compassionate raised, for winning wish, and that on hearts is line. Oh, thou seest one love perishing. His death is caused by those hands and eyne. Whereupon the damsel sprang up, and throwing herself at my feet, kissed them and said, it is thine to excuse, O my master. By Allah, I knew not thy quality, nor heard I ever the like of this performance. And all began extolling me and making much of me, being beyond measure delighted at the least that the last they besought me, and to sing again. So I sang a merry air, whereupon they all became drunken with music and wine. Their wits left them, and they were carried off to their homes, where I abode alone with the host and the girl. He drank some cups with me, and then said, O my lord, my life hath been lived in vain, for that I have not known the like of thee till the present. Now by Allah, tell me who thou art, that I may ken who is the cup companion whom Allah hath bestowed on me this night. And at first I returned him evasive answers, and not tell him my name. But he conjured me till I told him who I was, whereupon he sprang to his feet. And Scheherazade perceived the dawn of day and ceased saying her permitted say. I'll take a sip of tea and then we will read one final story tonight. Just one more night, dear friends. Now, when it was 347th night, Scheherazade said, "It has reached me, O auspicious king, that Ibrahim, son of Al-Mahdi, continued." Now when the housemaster heard my name, he sprang to his feet and said, "Indeed, I wondered that such gifts should belong to any but the like of thee. And I fortune, such gifts should belong to any but the like of thee, and fortune hath done me a good turn, for which I cannot thank her too much. But haply this is a dream, for how could I hope that one of the Caliphate house should visit my humble home and carouse with me this night?" I conjured him to be seated. So he sat down and began to question me as to the cause of my visit in the most courteous terms. So I told him the whole affair, first and last, hiding naught, and said to him, "Now as to the food I have had my will, but of the hand and the wrist I have still to win my wish." Quoth he, "Thou shalt have thy desire of the hand and the wrist also, Inshallah." Then said he to the slave girl, "Ho, such an one, bid such an one come down." And he called his slave girls down, one by one, and showed them to me. But I saw not my mistress among them. And he said, "Oh, my lord, there is none left save my mother and sister. But by Allah, I must needs have them also down and show them to thee." So I marvelled at his courtesy and large-heartedness, and said, "May I be thy sacrifice? Begin with the sister?" And he answered, "With joy and goodwill." So she came down, and he showed me her hand, and behold, she was the owner of the hand and wrist. Quoth I, "Allah make me thy ransom. This is the damsel whose hand and wrist I saw at the lattice." Then he sent his servants without stay or delay for witnesses, and bringing out 2 myriads of gold pieces, said to the witnesses, "This is our lord and master Ibrahim, son of Al-Mahdi, paternal uncle of the commander of the faithful, seeketh in marriage my sister such an one, and I call you to witness that I may give her in wedlock to him, and that he hath settled upon her 10,000 dinars." And he said to me, "I give thee my sister in marriage at the portion aforesaid." "I consent," answered I, and am herewith content. Whereupon he gave one of the bags to her and the other to the witnesses, and said to me, O our Lord, I desire to adorn a chamber for thee, where thou mayest sleep with thy wife. But I was abashed at his generosity, and was ashamed to lie with her in his house. So I said, equip her, and send her to my place. And by thy being, O Commander of the Faithful, he sent me with her such an equipage that my house, for all its greatness, was too strait to hold it. And I begot on her this boy that standeth in thy presence. Then Al-Mamun marvelled at the man's generosity and said, Gifted of Allah is he. Never heard I of his like. And he bade Ibrahim al-Mahdi bring him to court, that he might see him. He brought him, and the Caliph conversed with him, and his wit and good breeding so pleased him that he made him one of his chief officers. And Allah is the giver, the bestower. And men all so relate the tale of the woman whose hands were cut off for giving alms to the poor. A certain king once made proclamation to the people of his realm, saying, If any of you give alms of aught, I will verily and assuredly cut off his hand. Wherefore all the people abstained from alms deed, and none could give anything to anyone. Now, it chanced that one day a beggar accosted a certain woman, and indeed hunger was sore of him, and said to her, Oh, give me an alms. And Scheherazade perceived the dawn of day and ceased saying her permitted say. Well, doesn't sound like that's going to go very well for her, does it? Helping the poor. I think it's a good thing to help the poor personally. And I hope it all turns out well for her in the end. Let's hope it does. Dear friends, I'm going to play This is one of Kamyab's latest songs that he sang at a concert that he did recently. A social distancing concert, one should say. If you look at the video, everyone else, all the musicians accompanying him, are wearing masks, and he's not, because he's singing and he's playing a guitar, and there's a cellist, a guitar player, a bass player, and a viol player. Very beautiful. So it was a great pleasure reading for you this evening, as usual. Hi Al Hassan. Hi Omar. Hi everybody. It's been an absolute pleasure reading for you this evening. If you do enjoy our readings, do feel free to comment, do feel free to like, love, laugh, dislike, whatever it is. If you want to put an angry face, put an angry face on there. You are more than welcome. It was an absolute pleasure. Do feel free to listen in tomorrow. Saman will be back with you tomorrow evening to read the rest of this story, and let's hope that this woman's hand somehow gets given back by a jinn, or magic back by a jinn, or something like that. We will be having a special reading sometime very, very soon, so do watch out for that. If you have enjoyed our readings, Saman and I have now been reading for almost a year. So next week, Saturday, is the 20th of March, and on the 20th of March 2020, in the very first lockdown, because of this pandemic. Yes, it is. You know what? We love telling these stories. We really do. We love reading them. We love telling them. Sometimes I have to say we tone it down. A couple of the stories we've toned down a little bit, just some of the phrases, just because we don't want to offend people of different races and stuff too much. So we have changed a little bit because, you know, let's face it, these are translations. This is a translation written by, I hate to say it, a British colonialist in the 19th century. So, you know, it is sometimes rife a little bit potentially with some rather colonialist undertones, maybe. I don't know for sure. I can't say that. But of course, unfortunately, because I don't know the original stories, because I can't read the original stories, I can't say for sure how close his translations are to the originals exactly. But they are very, very beautiful. They are very, very exciting stories. Sometimes they are very naughty stories, and Saman and I end up blushing. Saman called me the other day as she was reading. She was preparing to read the rest of a story that I'd started, and she was like, "Oh my God, have you seen this story? This is so shocking." Do you know? No, I don't. No, I don't know that, I'm afraid, Amia. I don't know that. This, by the way, is... You know, if any of you ever have any stories that you'd like to hear us read that I can read in English, Saman does speak Farsi, I think, but obviously I can't. I can speak German and English, a little bit of French, a little bit of Italian, and a little bit of Spanish, but no languages from the Middle East, I am ashamed to say. However, if you ever find something you would like to listen to us read out loud in one of our readings, maybe it's even a short poem or something that you particularly enjoy listening to, then by all means send it to us and we will read it for you online live here in our 1001 Nights readings. If you do enjoy what we do and you do want to support us, as I said, we have been reading this for a year now. We started it as a gratuity to help people out who are stuck at home in the pandemic during lockdowns. Lockdowns are going on and off the whole time throughout the world. A friend told me in Australia today that everything has pretty much really opened up there already. Here not. We are still in curfews in the evenings. Yeah, we are still in curfew in Vienna, as you know. So, you know, we can't go out at night. The bars and restaurants and theatres, alack, are still shut. So we've been doing this for a year. If you want to help us out financially, give us a little bit of money so that helps us carry along, then www.paypal.me/Vienna Theatre Project. We will take 50 cents, we will take €1, we will take €1,000,000, anything that you are happy to give us and part with. We are very, very happy. A few of your dinars would go a long way to help us out, buy equipment, to make sure that our readings always look even more professional as we carry on. We will be having a special reading very, very soon to celebrate our 1-year anniversary. We were hoping to do it next weekend. Unfortunately, we can't at the moment because we have a conflict work-wise. However, as soon as we know when that reading is, we will let you know, and watch this space, because we're going to be hopefully maybe even have something really special, extra special coming along with that, aside from Kamyab playing his beautiful music live and Saman and I reading together for once. So I don't meet anybody ever. You can come and watch my theatre shows. When we're back in the theatre, you are more than welcome to come watch one of my shows. Ladies and gents, have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Look after yourselves. Many blessings from me. Have a good night. Have a good day if your day is just starting. Take care of yourselves, mask up, do whatever it is you have to do to make sure you keep very, very safe. And goodbye, everybody. Take care of yourselves. Thank you. Thank you very much. You have a beautiful evening too. Bye-bye, everybody. Take care. Good night.